Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of NYYANKEEMANIA and Total Turnbuckle Talk with you know who. I'm Joe. TJ is missing this week. He's out on assignment, but we do have a very, very great guest star here, co-host for tonight, and we're going to bring him up in maybe about a minute or so. And that's I'm going to let him introduce himself. It's a lot of fun. I'm very honored to have him on the program. He's a big wrestling fan, especially from yesteryear. He goes from Bruno Sammartino all the way to Cody Rhodes. So it's going to be exciting, guys. Before we get into that, I just wanted to ask, tell everybody, please press the like button. Also, of course, subscribe to NYYANKEEMANIA, Total Turnbuckle Talk, Third Floor Podcast. So there's a lot of things going on tonight, guys. So we're going to dissect. Don't forget, tomorrow night is Saturday night's main event on NBC, live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So a lot going on. And right after this, with a little lull, a little bit, we will come back with a post-game baseball show for a little bit. So, again, without any further ado, I want to bring up our co-host, gracious enough to come out on Halloween. And by the way, again, everyone, happy Halloween to each and every one of you. And let's bring him up. And there he is. Man, what are you calling yourself these days, my man?
Calling myself Slick Vic on this channel.
There you go, Slick. How's it going?
What's up, Joe Guns? How are you?
Before we go on with with all of this, just let the people know exactly what channel you have, subscribing, and all of that good stuff. By all means, take it away.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you so much for the invite to carry this on with TJ being on assignment. I have a unique channel. It's a little bit different. It's let's call it a 17 plus for the audience. It's not really for kids. I just bring a different twist to play-by-play. It's a good channel. I also have other shows that are kid-friendly. I do an NFL history show. I do a Major League history show. I do a top 5 breakdown of the greatest football players that I've seen, baseball players that I've seen. I try to keep it a little bit even, but for the most part, I'm just doing what I always wanted to do, but was never able to do or get a break for it. Or you know how life is. You want to be an astronaut, and next thing you know, you're on the back of a garbage truck for 11 years. That's kind of where I was. That's kind of where I was. But
you made a living and you brought up a family. That's all that counts.
Yes. Yeah. I got 3 children here with my second wife, who she had those 3 children. They're not mine, but I've been raising them for 26 years now.
God bless you.
I do have 1 child of my own who just made me a grandfather.
So, congratulations.
So that's awesome. Things are good. As you know, I had to retire in September. I got a few medical issues that I have to take care of. One being on November 10th, ironically, where I'll have surgery. But I just put what I do with my show is I do a play-by-play, but I just call the game the way it is. I'm not biased or anything. I just call it the way it is. And sometimes I just get a little passionate and over passionate, and, I just let it roll. That's just the way it is. But for the most part, I always tone it down when I'm outside of my own channel, my own network, my own chat and everything. So I told everybody over there that I wasn't going to be doing the game tonight, that I was coming over here to help you out and to explain to them that's what people do. They help other people. That's what they do. We just help other people. We help each other. It's just the way that me and you were brought up from the old school Italians back on the East Coast.
Yep.
Those mustaches that we heard stories from. we learn lessons very early in life, and I continue to carry that with me no matter where I go.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we can't thank you enough for being selfless and coming on here when you could have been calling Game 6 of the World Series. But if things gotta keep going the way they are, you're going to be calling Game 7 tomorrow. So the smile is on your face again. I could see it. So there you
Hey,
go.
that's the baseball gods. Like I said, the baseball gods do what they do, and
Yes.
like I told you on the phone call, I'd be more than happy to help you with anything that needs to pertain to helping these kids out with these channels. Uh, the young guys that you got on your channel, Evan and George, super knowledgeable, super young with so much in life ahead of them,
Yeah.
uh, on the right path, doing the right thing. They're not on the streets. They're in the books. They're in the libraries. They're studying. They're doing what they need to do to make their career. And I couldn't be more happier or prouder than those two guys who I've met through this show. And just to see that, hey, I'm glad to see that some of this youth is on the right path to growing up the right way and doing the right things in life.
Yeah,
So
I totally agree with you, and it's a godsend. It's a pleasure to be with them and talk to them, and they get interviews. I mean, they're who's 21, who's 15, who's 14. I mean, it's amazing what they've accomplished in such a young age. It
yeah,
really
yeah, I was checking TJ out, because it's like, let me see what it's all about, and yeah, I'm blown away. Kid's got a lot of passion for the sports entertainment of
yes,
wrestling. He's very passionate and very knowledgeable. Uh, and he looks like he really, really enjoys doing what he's doing, and that's the most important part. That they
you
enjoy
have to
doing what
enjoy
you're
it.
doing. Yeah,
Yes, you have
and
to
that's what
enjoy
why
it.
that's why we're here doing what we do, because we enjoy doing what we do. Like,
Yes.
talking about the Yankees, or in my case, calling Yankee games, talking about the Yankees, and doing other projects on my channel and stuff like that. But then
That's
comes a
awesome.
time when you connect and you bring it together.
Yeah, no, 100%, and just so happy, that we all got together and we're a one happy family, and that's the way it should be. We help each other
It's
and not claw on each other.
it's all
That's
fate.
the problem. Yeah,
It's all fate. God leads us to each other somehow, some way. That every I always felt that people I meet in my life, they're supposed to be there for me to meet, whether it's for a day, an hour, or a lifetime. There's a reason
I
I'm
agree.
meeting them.
I agree. I agree. Well, let's get into it. So what brought you? I mean, in growing up, wrestling wise, WWF at the time. So tell me about the passion. Tell me,
Oh man.
everything that you remember, what you saw, and what would you like to talk about on it?
Well, there's 1,000 places I could start, Joe, and I could call each one of them the beginning. But I think the most important place to start right here. I'll start with the most passionate wrestling fan that I knew, that turned me into a wrestling fan, and that was my mom. My
Wow.
mom, my mom was, uh, she was a wrestling nut, and like, she started taking me to matches because my father refused to go with her anymore, because that's how she was into it. And as a matter of fact, what happened, quick story to kind of tell you, this is in the 50s when my mom was watching. So you could imagine the guys that she was seeing. She was seeing the Antonio Roccos,
Oh,
the Fred
sure.
Blassies, the Lou Albanos, and Bobby
Oh,
Heenans before they were anything thought of managers. A lot of young guys. And I'm sure you remember a guy named Gorgeous George.
of course.
He used to prance around and come out with the roses. Well, he came out and he gave a rose to my mother, who my dad was dating at the time. And it took two cops to separate my father from trying to get this Gorgeous George for giving my mom a rose. And he
Oh
told
my
her,
God! Wow.
he said, I'll never, ever go to another wrestling match with you. And he didn't. And then I came along, so she said, hey, there's an out. I'll just take the kid with me. So that's how I turned into a wrestling fan. going to wrestling with my mom, and the first time I'm looking at her going, wow, this is bizarre. This is real. She's really, really into it.
That's like my grandmother. My grandmother and my grandfather were my grandmother was nuts about it. I mean, she literally would pick up a 25-inch TV. You know how heavy they were then.
Oh,
And like, my grandfather be yelling, she's crazy. She's crazy. Oh, my God. Now you can imagine a little Italian woman, feisty. And, I can't tell you. I have stories with Bruno Sammartino had to calm her down one time. It was it was amazing. It was really great. But I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
Oh no, that's good, man. Feel free to enter because everything is a memory, and please don't deny yourself of a memory like that. Yeah. So when I seen her, like her passion for it, and I started getting into it, and the first wrestler that I was attracted to the sport as because I kind of had Bruno in my family, if you know what I mean. Bruno was my uncle. Every uncle I had in my family, I look at them, I'm like, that's Bruno. They just beat the hell out of people and move on, and go to work. Yeah. So Bruno was special to me because he was the Italian hero, and my grandmother, my father's mother, was from Abruzzo, Italy, too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And anyway, but those memories of going there with my mom led to other memories that are so vivid in my mind that I can't forget. And let's not forget, Joe, back in these days, when I'm talking in 1970, there's the ring, maybe 5 feet, 6 feet, and then boom, the people. There's no ropes, there's no garden. When them wrestlers came out, they landed on your feet, on you, by you. I was getting sweat and spit on me for every time I went, man. And it was a highlight. It was actually exciting to have two wrestlers going at it in front of me. One hit the other, and all his spray of sweat like lands on you. And you're like, yeah. But it was so intense. It was just a beautiful time to be involved in the beginning of wrestling. And wrestling in another bizarre way, because there's, like I said, there's so many places to begin, but I used to watch on Channel 9 at midnight. I'm sure you did too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you remember Channel 9 had the Rangers.
Right.
Now, we're going way back, so there wasn't many times that the Rangers played on what's now called the West Coast, sort of. But you remember they used to tape delay them? And start them at 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Well, it used to run past midnight and get into the wrestling. So wrestling would come on at 12:30 as opposed to like 12.
Correct.
So I didn't notice. And when I started tuning in, I'm seeing the hockey team. That's how I became a Rangers fan, waiting for hockey to come on at midnight on a Saturday night, waiting for wrestling. So wrestling led me to hockey, actually.
That's awesome. I like that.
The first wrestler that really caught my eye was Mil Mascaras, Man of a Million Masks.
Right.
High-flying Mexican movie hero. He was a real big movie hero down there in Mexico.
Yes.
And he was one of the very first few of those coming up out of that lucha libre style, because I remember Pedro Morales was a phenom, and he was so beautiful to watch, man. Yep. A lot of these guys, when they work together, especially the big guys like your Pat Patterson going up against the Pedro Morales, right in front of you, and just watching them work, knowing what I know now about the sport, looking back on that, I'm even more impressed about that era, how they carried it, and they just took everything to another level. And it wasn't like now you go on social media the next day, you find out this one. You waited. Sometimes you had to wait a month.
Yeah.
Before you got a payoff, or you knew about a payoff, or what we find out now, the payoff came to your town, because we didn't have the TVs and all this other stuff that we have now, the cable, the streaming. So on Channel 9 would be on for an hour. That would go off. And then the next morning, Sunday morning, I'd get up and I'd go with my dad to Collinswood Auction. And in there, they had a magazine guy, and he had all kinds of movie magazines, but he had all the top wrestling magazines at the
Oh,
time.
the Wrestler and
Yeah,
Ring Wrestling and all of that. Oh yeah,
Wrestling Illustrated, Pro
right.
Wrestling, yeah, all of them. And he would take me in there, and I'd get all my magazines, and then I'd just go with him. And then on the way home, man, I just start looking for. I just go through every one of them, and I'd be ready for Saturday night. But I was learning more about other federations at that time too, because those magazines covered everybody. Not
Right.
only
They had the champions and the top 10 of
yeah,
every AWA, whatever it was, whatever, WC8, whatever. I know. But I'll make you laugh on something. On those magazines, I would only buy them if Bruno was was a picture on the cover. If I saw
quite a few.
If I didn't see Bruno on the cover, I don't buy the magazine. I was like, I haven't had everything Bruno in the front cover, and I have the magazine that all about him. There was an MSG magazine publication that came out in the late 70s. I have that, all those magazines, if they didn't have Bruno, at least a picture of Bruno in the front, I don't buy it. And it was so funny. I mean, I know I missed out on a few, but I didn't care. I mean, no Bruno, no money.
You didn't miss out on too many, Joe, because back in the day, Bruno was smeared all over the place. Once in a while, you didn't even see Ric Flair as much as you did later on. It was pretty much like Bruno. Ernie Ladd was a big one who was always on a magazine cover. Well, he was a big name because he was the first to come out of football and turn it around like that. And superstar Billy Graham, who is
they should have made him a baby face at one time. He would have been awesome.
I think what he did is, if you think about this in a way, even though he was a heel, a lot of people loved the superstar. Yeah. So in a way, he kind of was your Stone Cold before Stone Cold.
Right.
No matter what Stone Cold did, you loved it. Whether he was a bad guy, good guy, it didn't matter. It was Stone Cold.
It didn't matter. Right.
And it was like the same thing for Superstar, except when it came to wrestling Bruno Sammartino, then it was a different ball game, because those two hooked up in a feud that I believe carried almost 2 years in length. Before I think Superstar pinned him in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yep. Well, that's when Bruno had enough. His body was really, really breaking down. He couldn't take, because what happened is, I don't know if you know the story, but what happened is when Bruno gave up the first one, he handpicked Ivan Koloff. He said, this guy looks the part, he'll cover. But when they did that, they knew right away that Pedro Morales was going to take over soon. Not as fast as when Superstar Billy Graham won the title. He won it knowing he had 1 year, no matter what happened, because Backlund was going to take it.
Correct.
That was set in stone. And they kept telling Vince, don't do it. As a matter of fact, in talking with Bruno, and I have it on tape somewhere too. In talking with Bruno, he and Superstar Billy Graham had a match while Superstar was still champion. They were actually going to go against Vince and Senior and have Bruno win the title, because nobody wanted Backlund. They didn't think that he was going to make the company money. He was this all-American boy. How do you go from behemoths like Ivan Koloff and Bruno and Superstar Billy Graham to an all-American? The fans are not going to want to take to that. And so they had to make Backlund stronger than what he really was. And then it just got to the point where Backlund lasted too long because they had nobody else. There was nobody else. They had second tier, but they didn't have any more first tier.
What you had there, though, was you had that slow process of the changing of the guard. Bruno, like you said, was breaking down, so he passed it on to Superstar,
Right.
who going in knew he had a year because they were getting Backlund ready. But you also had Pedro Morales, who was the IC champion, and they were getting ready to change him out with Pat Patterson. So you had the changing of the guard, but it just goes to show you, like, everybody's like, Backlund? What do you? It just goes to show you the genius of Vince's dad. He's seen Vern Gagne doing this in the territory up in Minnesota, producing guys right out of college. Look how many guys came out of Minnesota, man, just of the collegiate level, which opened the door to a lot of other collegiate guys like Dr. Death.
Right.
I'm trying to think what the list can go on and on. The Von Erichs, most of them all played football, were all sport. So Vince Senior didn't have that all-American guy.
Right.
Everybody had the all-American guy. We had Bruno. We had Superstar.
Right.
We didn't have that all-American flag-wheeling guy that all the other territories were producing at that time.
Well, we had the Victor Riveras.
Yeah, but
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, you know what I mean, to the level of the Von Erichs running down with the Texas flag and the American flag, Yeah, and you got Dusty Rhodes playing the plumber's son role down there in the South. You got Ric Flair. He's showing, hey, I'm the high flying, this and that. I'm doing the all-American thing. We're up. And so I think when he knew, again, the genius of Vince Sr., he knew what he was doing, because once Backlund hit the scene, he exploded. And the reason, like you said, you think he hung around too long, I would agree. But the fact was, they didn't have anybody coming up right then, because you still had Hulk Hogan in the AWA, still being tied up there.
Right.
And Vince Sr. would not take any property, or I'm saying property, I shouldn't say, take any wrestler out of another guy's territory. In other words, he wouldn't go outbid him. Unbeknownst, when Senior steps down, here comes Junior, and Junior says, no. I'm going to make this the greatest thing on the planet. I'm going to give these. Now, I shouldn't say that he just, battled and divulged them. He didn't. He gave them all offers. He offered everybody a fair offer or whatever, and just left it up to them. If they didn't, by that time, the wrestlers were like, well, hell, he's got all the money. You mean I'm going to be in Madison Square Garden instead of Tupelo at a VFW? So it sounds tragic, but it's something, again, it's something that you had to adjust to, and something that had to happen, because that really, really changed the guard, changed the entire outlook of all of wrestling when Vince started going into the territories and plucking guys out left and right. Right. And it made a lot of guys mad. And a lot of guys went to the grave.
Gagne, the Gagnes, the Bill Watts of the world. Oh, yeah, no question about it.
Well, and the Cowboy, he wasn't the straightest arrow.
I know.
He was the original Paul Heyman. If you want to really compare some of these guys to guys today, so the audience can understand of some of these guys we're talking to. Cowboy Bill Watts was Paul Heyman when ECW. What he was doing with the money behind those guys' backs when he had the ECW.
And Ole Anderson.
Yeah, all those years, and then everybody's, where's the money? And he's like, I don't know. It's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone.
So, but no, I agree with you. It all started that way, but again, the second Bruno run, not to have so much, with Bruno, but he was wrestling.
He's wrestling, man.
The second run was supposed to be, they coaxed him to come back for 1 year because he was shot. He said, my body's done. I love going to Japan. I'll go into Madison Square Garden. I'll do a couple of months with somebody, but that's it. So the 1 year, and they knew, and they were taking advantage now because he was making money. No matter what he did. Oh, Bruno's coming to town. Boom. Let's do it. He's coming. He's coming, sold out, sold out. So 1 year went into 2, 2 years went into 3, then he broke his neck. And he said, that's enough. And while he was in the bed, they were making a match. And the doctor said to Vince Sr. and Jr., are you for real? This guy has a broken neck. He may not even walk again. And you're already putting him into Madison Square Garden. Are you people all right or what? So Bruno took the phone. He says, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it, period. Goodbye, Vince. And they hung up. And what was it, like 3 months later? It was me. I actually went to that match, but I couldn't get in because under 14, not admitted. With you couldn't get in, but they had the Fell Forum going. So they had 23,000 in the arena and another 5,000 in the Fell Forum. So we were able to go in there, and you know, whatever it was, if it was Stan Hansen or what, you know, whoever it was, Stan Hansen at the time, because he was the one that broke Bruno's neck for real. You know, didn't mean it, of course, and of course the rings were harder. You know, remember when they got thrown out, they don't have what they have now. They have mats.
But there was nothing. Convention hall was when you landed on the floor hall. That's all it was. You were landing on solid floor back then. I'm telling you, chair shots were in front of me, like from here to here. A chair shot. I'm watching the chair just explode on the guy's head, and I'm like, you know, people were like, wrestling's fake. I'm like, well, what I saw Saturday night wasn't pretty fake.
Yeah.
You can almost see the lumps grow on these guys as they're wrestling in front of you.
And the thing is, the security wasn't like it is now. I mean, it was scary. You could actually grab a wrestler by the neck, and, you know, they couldn't do much because they know if they did anything, they'd be arrested or they'd lose their whole career. They'd lose their license and everything. But
Joe, I'm going to share a story with you.
That
I rarely do because my mom's not alive anymore. She didn't like when I told this story, but I'm going to tell you the story. We're at Convention Hall. It's probably like 70, 76, maybe 75, 76. We're always ringside because Billy Dello always got us ringside. And the match was, I don't know if you remember, Crazy Luke Graham and Jimmy Valiant.
Right.
Okay, and they're wrestling Dominic DeNucci and Larry Zbyszko.
Okay.
Right? The match hasn't started yet. So we got the heels are right there. Luke Graham and Jimmy Valiant are right where we're sitting. They're in our end of the corner, right?
Yeah.
And Luke Graham turns around, he's yelling, and all of a sudden my mom unleashes on him. She's like, you're going to get your bleeping butt cut. Because my mom didn't hold back, man. She's like, you're going to get, go get him, Dominic Terry. And he said to her, he goes, well, why don't you be quiet, right?
Oh,
with that, a woman down the other end who was rooting for Luke Graham told my mother, she told my mother, he goes, yeah, listen to him. Why don't you just shut up, Blondie? Joe, the next thing you know, the two cops who were working, like you said, security was nothing. They're just sitting there. They even got coffee between the chair. They're just sitting there. Nothing happens. All of a sudden, there goes my mom, Sally. She gets up. She starts heading towards this woman. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's on. She tries to get him. The cops come over. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that to get her separated. My mom's like, I'll take you in the ring. I'll knock the hell out of you, right? And the woman's like, why don't you meet me outside? She goes, what are we in grammar school? We'll go right now. What are you waiting for? My mom's going on. So they finally get the woman away. Joe, we turn around. All four wrestlers, all four of them, are on the ring ropes like this going, yeah, I think the blonde's going to get her, man. I think the blonde's going to get it. DeNucci's talking to Larry Zbyszko like, yeah, my money's on that blonde right there. Crazy Luke Graham and Johnny Valiant they're laughing hysterically. They're just like trying to bury their heads and still be heels at the same time. My mother gets back in her seat. She goes, you got anything to say to Luke Graham? He turns around. I swear, Joe, he goes, no. I got nothing to say. They started ringing the bell. True story. My right hand to the Lord, bro.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I got one as good with my grandmother. My grandma, you couldn't touch Bruno. That's how I really became a big fan. And kudos to your mother, by the way. But my grandmother, this is a place in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn called Rollerama. And it was a bowling place and a bingo hall. So when they didn't have bingo, they had wrestling. About 800 people there, sold out. And this is the time when Bruno was still making appearances in these little arenas. And what happened is Bruno lost on a the guy hit the whoever, I don't know, I forgot who the opponent was, hit him, and Bruno got knocked out or something, and she went off on the referee.
Oh my God!
For not stop, disqualifying. This is true. She grabbed the referee by the throat, and now she was only speaking Italian. So the police are trying to say, like, please, in Italian, Signora, please calm down, please, please. She wouldn't listen. Bruno had to come from the locker room, come out, and he in Italian. He says, Signora, we'll talk. We'll parlo now. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Yeah, but he's a bum. I want to kill. You lost like that. No, don't worry. I'll beat him the next time. I promise. Don't worry about it. But this went on for about 12 minutes.
Oh my God!
Like, now I'm a little two by nothing. My brother was with us, and I was like, oh my God! And the funniest thing. Now that was like around 1975. In 1991, I paired up with Bruno to do a radio show. So we met in the hotel lobby by the Nassau Coliseum because he was doing a show that night. And he goes, you know what, guys, let's go upstairs because I got rest and this and that. And I was like, I'm in my glory now. I've got my idol. I have a couple of people that, I do the show with. So we go, the door's jammed and he's going, oh God, this and that. And he goes, man, too many body slams. So he tells that, and then finally he opens the door and we all sit around there. He had a nice hotel room, sitting down now at the table. And I says, Bruno, I gotta ask you something. I don't know if you're gonna tell me to get out of here or what, but I don't know if you remember this incident at Rollerama in Brooklyn. He says, well, what was it? And I told him, and he says, oh yeah, I remember that. You were at that event, and at first I didn't say anything. He says, yeah. He says, the lady, my God, she loved me. I know that, but I felt so bad for the referee because she grabbed him. She was choking the referee. and he goes, is there any end to the story? I said, Bruno, that was my grandmother.
Oh my God.
He started laughing. He says, oh my God, in Italian. And like, he said, I said, Bruno, do you know how many 25-inch TVs she picked up in her life? And he was like, she said, I remember she was a 2x0. What was she, like 4'11"? I said, yep, 4'11". My grandfather was like 210 pounds. She lifted him up. I was like, oh my, you know how many times we had to go, because we had a 3-family home. And my grandparents would be on the first level. You know how many times? Well, we knew they were watching wrestling, but you would hear, this lady, she's crazy. So we all run downstairs, and of course, my grandmother has the TV. She's yelling at the referee. I'm gonna kill him. My grandfather be yelling, "Oh my God, I'm married to a lunatic. I'm married," And we were laughing when Bruno was amazed. He was so happy, and it was funny though. Vic, my dad owned an Italian bakery, so I knew, obviously I was going to go there. So I loaded up with Italian bread, rolls, cookies, you name it, breadsticks. He went nuts. He was like, oh my, I said, this is all from my dad, from us. And he goes, oh my God, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. And that's how, and that's really from one show, we ended up doing about 10 shows together because we took, he was awesome. And that was my Bruno story. So I'm sorry if I went off.
No, that's what this is about. That's for both of us to tell the stories of these memories because what you're saying there with your grandmother's passion, my mom's passion, it shows you how connected these people were with the wrestlers.
Yeah.
How real it was to people.
And you can't tell them that it's fake.
Oh my God, no.
Tell them because why do you want to take the joy away from them? If they believe it. Listen, a lot of people believed it. Everybody was guilty in the beginning of no, well, I don't know. I think he really hit him. No, he didn't. I think he really hit him. No, he didn't. You go back and forth. But I hate the people that are going to make older people feel bad. Let them enjoy it.
Exactly.
So fun. Let them enjoy it. My God, I used to get mad at some relatives. My father would say, let her enjoy it. Come on. And then, cousins and whatever. Oh, why are you watching it? Because my grandmother, she told me, she says, Joe, you got to tell me when, I don't care if it's on at midnight. I don't care what it is, but you've got to tell me. And how many times? And then my relatives would say, why are you telling your grandmother it's on at midnight? Because she wants to enjoy it. She's 88 years old. What do you want her to enjoy?
Exactly. Let her live, man. It's wrestling. It's just that the passion that people had was, even myself, I still am to an extent, but not like I used to be. It's nowhere near what it's not even close to what it used to be. But you're talking about Bruno and your dad with the pastries and everything. It actually reminds me of the first time that I met Bruno was at Billy Dello's house, because he lived on First and Drummond. But anyway, he was a cop in town, but he was the promoter for Convention Hall, and he was the connection to Vince Sr. He was very, very close with Sr. because they both bought their Cadillacs where my mom worked. Thus, that's how we got ringside tickets from Billy. Plus, Billy was a close family friend. The whole Italian thing. And some of the wrestlers would come in early and they would stay at Billy's house instead of them spending money in hotels and stuff. Because let's remember, these guys ain't making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're not selling $3,000.
No, he was making the most. He was making like a couple of thousand a week, but he had to work for it. I mean, really work for it.
There wasn't sweatshirts, hoodies, T-shirts, hats. There was none of that. Okay, so whatever these guys made, it got him to the next town half the time. And sometimes it's not even enough for that. But anyway, that not being the point. But he would do that for certain guys.
Yes.
And we played football in the street there. And here he came pulling in one time, blowing the horn. He had the cop car, took the cop car to Newark Airport, came back, and he picked up Bruno Sammartino and another guy. I don't know if you remember this guy, but he was more or less one of those workers. Gas House Gilbert.
Oh, Gas House Gilbert, of course.
Remember him with the spiral mustache?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So him and Bruno get out of the car because they're wrestling against each other, right? I know that they're wrestling that night because I'm going to the show. And here they both got out of the cop car. And Billy called us over. He says, grab that stuff out of the trunk for me, fellas, and bring it inside. We did. But we're following, waiting for him. And then he walks in the house, yells for his wife, hey, Bruno's here. Blah, blah. And Gas House. And they walk in, hey, this is blah, 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 and all this other stuff. We're walking in behind going, these two guys are fighting tonight. Why, right? So Billy came outside. They went inside. We came back outside. We're getting ready to go play. He threw us the football. We were like, hey, you're going to leave. They shouldn't be together. They're going to fight tonight, man. And Billy says, who's in that house with him? And we were like, well, Mrs. Dello. He goes, are you going to fight in that house as Mrs. Dello's there? I go, no. And we went and played football. So even even that was enough to get us by to go, all right, man, he's right, because I ain't fighting in Mrs. Della's house. She'll hurt us. So I guess these two guys know better, and they're not going to fight until tonight like they're supposed to. So we even thought there was a rule to wrestling at that time. You know what I mean? So you kind of blow that off, but I look back on it now and I'm like, wow, man, that is pretty intense. That is pretty intense.
It is. And one of the other thing too is, you realize how big Bruno was.
Oh my God!
I mean,
his TV does not do that man
justice. Nobody. I don't care if it's Hulk Hogan. Nobody had a neck like that. That neck was legendary. Even Vince McMahon said that neck is legendary.
His chest, Joe, was like a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah,
and probably as solid as he was. So much. Once it got up to here, he looked like a bear. Of course, being Italian with all the hair all over him didn't help much, but and he would just, his style wasn't really like a John Cena or a Shawn Michaels.
No, he wasn't. Listen, he was all power.
Yeah, he was literally like wrestling a bear.
Yeah. And again, it was, and we don't mean to keep the whole show on Bruno Sammartino, although he does deserve it and more. But as it evolved, so Bruno had enough. After 1 year, turned into almost 4.5 more years, and he said that's it. So Graham was the one that was picked. And then Graham knew exactly that, he was going to win with, illegally. So Graham felt the least he can do for Bruno is blade, because he was definitely going to bleed for that match.
Right.
So he bladed, and he said that was in honor of Bruno, because that's the least he can do. If he was going to win the match, not in the right way, with the referee not seeing that, then the least that he could have done is blade himself and bleed. And that's what he did. So he always told that story. He did that in honor of Bruno. He didn't like blading, but he did it for Bruno. No question about it. But it came with a price.
Yeah, it did.
In other words, it's his those injections really came with a price, and that was ultimately, he was not in good health after he was like 68 years old. Every day there was a struggle for that man. Every day.
But he was humble enough to admit his wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And to discourage it. A lot of these guys want to hide behind, I didn't do nothing but whatever, dude.
Right.
But the Billy Graham, 2 hips, 2 knees.
Yeah.
He's had extensive elbow and shoulder surgeries, neck surgeries, back surgeries. That's just superstar. That man was basically
it's like Hulk Hogan. It was like Hulk Hogan, but Hogan, Hogan was a different breed, though. I mean, the problem with Hogan is that he, and may rest in peace forever, but he lied. I mean, right to everybody's face, I didn't do it, but he definitely, I mean, superstar Billy Graham said, I injected him.
Yeah.
Why lie?
It was one of those things. Think of where he was on top of the mountain. He didn't want to be down. He knew it is what it is. It's all through baseball. But the thing was, when Backlund took over from Superstar and then went on his run, a lot of transactions within wrestling started to happen. And the cusp of it was about to happen and go into what's about to change wrestling for the rest of history as we know it. When Backlund came out, and
he had it for 5 years.
Well, the Sheik took it. Now we're into a whole nother level, because now Junior's in charge.
Right.
Junior starts the whole Iranian thing, takes Sergeant Slaughter to a different level, and then boom, here comes a big blonde named Hulk Hogan, and he's going to save the world. And he pins him in that match in Madison Square Garden.
I was right there.
Package, no less, a small package. Hogan gets him in after the leg drop, pins the Sheik, and then history's made.
Well, Gorilla Monsoon, if you listen to the tape, He
Oh God, I
said
love
it, and
Gorilla.
Hulkamania has just begun, or something like that. And boy,
Hulkamania is born.
yeah, Hulkamania is born, whatever.
And they played it to the level. They brought in Cyndi Lauper
Yeah,
later on with Hulk Hogan. He had the connection there. He had this connection.
they
And
even
then
turned Lou Albano a good guy. I mean, how easy was that?
Lou Albano was probably one of the sweetest human beings anybody would ever want to meet on this planet.
Well, he kept
And
getting fired,
you
and
would
Bruno
never.
kept bringing him back.
Well, he liked to get high and drink.
Yeah, drink.
He just
Mostly
liked
drink.
he that was his thing, but that made him Lou. Lou was putting safety pins in his cheeks long before anybody and hanging rubber bands off him. Okay, so Lou was a different breed, but he played the role because he loved the sport. He gave his life for the sport. He cut himself for the sport. Lou was an absolute character that could never be matched within wrestling. Just like there's never going to be a Bobby the Brain Heenan. There's never going to be another Fred Blassie. There's never going to be another Grand Wizard. None of these. Arnold, even an Arnold Skolin, as simple as Arnold Skolin's thing was to walk out with Bruno holding the towel, and then that's it. That was his role. You don't even have that anymore. You know what I mean? You don't. But Arnold Skolin always coming down with the suit thing on, and and Bruno with that jog. But all that changes when Hulk Hogan takes over, because now we're into entrance music. We're into pyrotechs. Now we got WrestleMania. We're hooked up with Mr. T. You got Piper. You got Orton. You got Orton's dad. WrestleMania 1. People forget that. He was teamed up in corner. He broke his forearm, so they had to do the switch because Orndorff was supposed to be the guy on the outside, and Orton was going to be with Piper, but he broke his thing, so they switched it.
And that turned Orndorff good, and then bad, and then good, and then bad again.
And then he just went to revolving door pole and got, he got a bum deal too, because he had a very weird syndrome that attacked him, because you could see as he got older, one of his arms started getting smaller and smaller. He was losing bone mass and muscle mass in one side of his body. Really bizarre.
I mean,
but he was tough, man. He was a tough dude. Orndorff was nothing to mess with. Couldn't cut a promo, but he could wrestle.
Like another time that we do this, and I really hope that you'll come back. We want to go to the Piper's Pits. I want to go over all those Piper's Pits. I want to go over how we got
the flower shop.
Yeah, the flower shop. We
Big
could
pit.
go. Yeah, and what led into Hogan Andre WrestleMania 3.
The barbershop.
Yeah, there's so much. There's so much to talk about. There's so much. Wrestling is a soap opera that just doesn't end.
You had the Undertaker with Paul Bearer in the parlor. Remember that?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It was one of the greatest promos ever came out of that. I'm not cutting you short, but I just want to tell you, one of the greatest promos that came out of that is the one with the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, yeah. You can never understand what he was saying.
Yeah, that promo with the casket, man, was crazy.
Oh, my God. Another guy that brought back a lot of memories, Brother Love. I love you.
Bruce Pritchard, yeah.
Bruce Pritchard. Yeah. They put everybody into something, and it was amazing. The storytelling was just amazing.
And it's sad that it's not there today. It really is. It's sad that it's not there today. It's just I don't know. It's just like money grabbing. The wrong people are in charge. There's no creative, no storytelling, no superstars. There's no heels. There's no baby faces.
Yeah, one week you're rooting for somebody, the next week they're a heel. Then they're a heel, and you're rooting. You don't know anymore. You don't know, and it's wild. It's totally wild.
There was one guy who I said never ever budged from being a heel, and he was probably the best heel that I ever came across. And Patera? I thought that,
Patera?
No, Ted DiBiase when he was the $1 Million Man.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was probably one of the most successful heel
brilliant.
runs ever.
He
I think
had
the only thing that come close to that maybe the honky tonk man.
He had to live being a millionaire, which was not a bad thing to do.
You want to hear a story?
Had to have money in his pocket every time.
This is a true story. Vince gave him, there was some kind of voucher with the WWE when he was going to go on the road or something. He had a voucher to go get $10,000 in cash.
Yep.
And he was to carry it with him and do whatever he wanted with it.
Right.
Every time he left. And he also, when he made the $1 million belt, right?
Right.
So he's in WWE headquarters. He goes in, he gets the belt. He goes and gets his 10 G's. And then he leaves, and now the whole time he's with Duggan. He's with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They're going somewhere because they're doing a feud, so they're traveling together.
Right.
So somehow they both wind up together. They get in the car, boom, they take off, right? They pull into this hotel bar kind of thing, right? So they go in, they get a room, they go into the bar, they get trashed, right? So he's DiBiase tells Hacksaw, he goes, I'm going to head back up to the room. We've got to go grab our shit out of the car. I'm sorry. We'll go grab our stuff out of the car and go to the room. Well, they go, and the car's broken into. And guess what they took? The $1 million belt.
Yes.
Now, the $1 million belt is stolen. Someone's got to make the call to Vince. Someone has to make the call to Vince, and you can't wait. He doesn't want to hear about it the next morning. He wants to hear about it on the spot. So Ted called him and told him what's going on, and then Vince is like, all right, goes off on him or whatever. He says, all right, don't worry about it. We'll have a belt for you in the morning. So they had another belt for him, waiting for him at the place that they were going for them to continue. But that's a true story. But that's when you talk about the heel, playing the heel. He didn't only play it on TV, Joe. He played it when he went out to go to the supermarket. He played it when he went to he had to. He couldn't come out of that character. And them guys at them days carried it pretty well. And the guys who were mean, and they didn't have to worry about being approached out in the street because no one was brave enough to go up anywhere near them.
Right.
So if you see somebody, if I see some of these guys coming, I wouldn't go near them.
I don't know if you saw the interview, a late interview with DiBiase, that Virgil was not to be trusted. Virgil did some really yucky things to him and to the Federation. And now, then he lived to regret it. But he did some really yucky things to Ted DiBiase. DiBiase's in an interview that I saw on YouTube just recently. And, he said it. He said, listen, I've forgiven him, but he did some really, really bad things to us. So yeah. I don't know, he didn't elaborate, but he must have, and I don't want to speculate if it has to do with money or whatever. He lied. I think one of the things he never told, in other words, the managers or of the wrestlers independently would book them someplace, but Virgil never told DiBiase. So it's DiBiase and Virgil, let's say at this comedy place or comic place. So they spend all the money because DiBiase's coming, and then all of a sudden only Virgil shows up and says, Ted had other commitments. He could not come, but I'm here. So right. He kept all the proceeds, and he did that until finally somebody caught up with DiBiase and said, why are you missing all these shows? And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you were supposed to be in so-and-so. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. Look. And that's when Ted DiBiase said, what? And Virgil didn't know what to say. Virgil kept all that money. He got away with it so many times until DiBiase says, we're done. I don't want to know you. I don't want, and then eventually, because I think DiBiase found Christ and all of that. Yeah, he went. He said, I forgive him, but will I ever trust him again? That's a different story. I don't know. But so that's pretty sad.
Do you know whose idea It was for the $1 Million Man. You know whose idea that was?
Was it Vince?
No,
It wasn't Vince. Teddy
no,
DiBiase himself?
no. It was Dusty Rhodes,
Oh, that's right.
and that's
Yes.
why Vince, the guy who played Virgil, got Virgil's name because Virgil is Dusty Rhodes' real first name. That's how he got the name Virgil.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a crazy story, but yeah, that would
Well, what
Dusty
they
Rhodes
did
was
with
behind
Dusty
it.
Rhodes was also dumb with the polka dots, and that was ridiculous. I'm a common man, and then they're playing that dopey music.
It did,
That's an insult. I'm sorry.
yeah, but you know what happens though? It didn't matter what Dusty did. It didn't matter what he did, man. There was nobody electric like that, man. Nobody cut a promo like Dusty. Ric Flair is good. A lot of guys, you can go down the list. Hogan was one of the best promo guys, but when it came to cutting a promo, and pretty much on the spot, especially because ones people really don't see unless they Google these and find them out. But his days down in WCW, his Florida days, his Mid-South days are some of the most incredible promos you'll ever hear in your life. As a matter of fact, the closest to Dusty Rhodes, in my estimation, as far as cutting a promo, is probably Mick Foley. And being that said, that's because Mick Foley idolized Dusty Rhodes. And you could feel it with his promos and how he cuts them. I mean, who could cut a more realer promo than Mankind at that time? Remember when you had that whole thing with Jim Ross with that interview? I mean, going into that deep of a character, that's not easy to do. And there's only a couple guys in the sport that ever did it good. And Foley did it great. And Dusty could do it like nobody's business.
Yeah, no, they worked it. And remember, in those days, everyone, they like somebody like Gene Okerlund, he stood in one place. And remember, they had to promote every city. Because not only were they doing big arenas in the city, but they were doing literal arenas.
House
so
shows.
They had to promote all day long. Let's say Hogan Chic in New York, Hogan Chic in Boston, Hogan Chic in Philadelphia. Then it was so and so at the War Memorial or in all these high schools and gyms and everything. It was very, 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 very hard, but it was, those interviews were just ridiculous. I mean, I love those. I love watching them on YouTube. Vince McMahon coming on Monday night in Madison Square Garden. We're gonna have what a card. In 1 week.
You remember when Vince took the shot at the like a Johnny Carson show with the prime time when Lord Alfred Hayes was his sidekick and they do that?
TNT, Tuesday Night Titans.
You remember that?
I went to one of those tapings.
It's some of the best TV that was ever. And then there was nothing better than tuning into prime time and watching Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan sitting there with that phone right on the desk. I'm the host. That Gorilla would just laugh at him. Like, I mean, we talk about Phil Rizzuto, Frank Messer, and Bill White. I mean, that comedic combination, which was brilliant. Now they're on a professional level talking about a professional sport, but then you got Gorilla and Bobby just creating magic. I mean, you look back on some of them, man, and if you don't come away crying, there's something wrong with you.
No, we've got so much to. I mean, we just really did the 70s and maybe the early 80s, but we have the Attitude Era, but unfortunately, time is short, and we do have to get ready for a post game. But we got to do this again, no question.
Without a doubt. Without a
doubt. And if it means we add a show to it, to our Friday night, because it really is usually dedicated to SmackDown and Raw. But we wanted to give everybody a little taste of yesteryear, and this was a great show. I can't thank you enough.
I think they got it. We did talk a lot about Bruno, but a lot of people have to understand when you start talking wrestling, like mid '60s and on. Unfortunately, Bruno's going to be just in about almost every sentence because he's the one that the world was looking at.
218 times in the Garden. I mean, just unheard of. He sold out the LA Coliseum 100 and I think it was 111,500 people. I mean, Bruno was Bruno. And we didn't even touch on Larry Sabisco and Bruno.
That we haven't. Yeah,
that we're going to save for the next time. But
we could pick it up anywhere, and like you see how the conversation just goes and goes and goes, because one thing just leads into another. Each era overlaps the other. So
the next time we won't have any time constraints, and we can go on and on. I'm really, Vic. This was wonderful. I really appreciate it. Wendy, how you doing? Sorry,
thank everybody in the chat. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, we wanted to get as much information as we did out there, but we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Come back for the pregame show, everyone. That may be happening sooner than later.
I think it's over.
Is the game over?
I think so. No, I don't know.
No, it's the bottom of the ninth coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right in front of me. I got you.
Yeah, well, so I want to close this down, and then we'll open up another one. I will send the link, and we'll get started with the post game.
Awesome.
All right, man.
See you in a few. Hey, thank you, everybody in the chat. Sorry for not getting to you. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody. And thank you, Joe. See you on the post game.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a few. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Next week, TJ. Thank you so much for Victor to stand in and be a great co-host, and we will have him on again, no question about it. Thank you again. If you like the content, please press the like button and also subscribe. Next week, remember, TJ will be back, and we will have our guest, which was former WWF ring announcer Lou Edwards. And he's going to dive into what wrestling was really about behind the scenes that people don't know about in the, when it was hush, hush, really hush, hush. So we'll talk about that all right now. We're going to go take a little break. As soon as the World Series game is over, give it a couple of minutes after that, and we'll come back with a new link, everyone. So thanks so much. Again, we're sorry we couldn't go through the names, but you guys we all know who you are. We appreciate it. And the next time, there's only so much you can do in an hour show. We promise it'll be more and more and more. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a little bit, just a little bit. Thanks, everyone. We love each and every one of you. God bless you, and we'll see you in just a little while with the post-game show of the World Series.